Hi everyone, how are you all doing? My name is Natalie. If this is the first time that you're watching my videos, I am a Western tropical astrologer and I use a whole sign house system for all my forecasts and reading. This is not my usual setup. I'm traveling on the roads and this is put up very last minute with a cushion makeshift stand anyway. But I really want to come up here to do this forecast for this week because we have so much happening this week. This week astrology is so powerful and so condensed. It's like worth of a year of astrology. Yes, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but there's a lot that is happening. In a nutshell, you really want to take a look at your Cancer house, your Leo house, your Gemini house, and your Capricorn houses. So all these houses are going to get activated this week. So let's break it down. We have a lot. So this is the week of June 29 to July 5th of 2026. Right from the get-go on Monday 29, we have Mercury stationing retrograde at 26 degrees 15 minutes in the sign of Cancer. 10:25 a.m. Pacific time, earlier time zone, June 30th, 1:25 a.m. Hong Kong time. So adjust the time according to where you are in the world. This is what I call the phase 2 of Mercury retrograde journey. So the phase 1 is during its pre-shadow, which was June 12 to 29 when Mercury slowed down to retrograde. And now during Mercury retrograde, Mercury will travel back to the degree point where it was in pre-shadow. So Mercury will retrograde back to 16 degrees 19 minutes and station direct there on July 23rd or 4th depending where you are. And then phase 3 of post-shadow will begin and ends on August 7th. So pretty much the whole July we have Mercury retrograde. But like I said before, sometime depending how you feel about Mercury retrograde and how it's aspecting your house, you can feel the energies most shaky during the pre-shadow. But for some, it might be during the actual retrograde period. Post-shadow is usually when you see everything that's coming up and you are finding clarity, solution, answers, making decision on how you want to move forward and so on and so forth. So Mercury retrograde in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is a sign that is nostalgic. It's usually talking about the past. It talks about memories. Sometimes Cancer have a hard time. It tends to hold on to things, to memories, to the past, and it's not the best of letting things go. So you might find yourself walking down the memory lane a lot during this period of Mercury retrograde. Maybe a lot of past memory might come up. Maybe people from the past even will resurface. Maybe they reach out, you might bump to them down the street, or you might just see them in the dreams, or past memories might come up. And you might have experienced that maybe you're rushing through life and something that you missed out or something you bypassed might come back now for you to look at. Or you might remember them, oh, I might be moving too fast. I need to take some time, slow down to look at something that I might have put in the past or just bypass really quickly, and now I want to come back to it. And maybe perhaps how I see this Mercury retrograde is there's this theme of us looking back, reflecting on our past, and maybe perhaps some people, situation and things, or even belief system, habits that we have that we might not resonate now with this newer version of us, and you might decide to let them go during this period of Mercury retrograde. Also, maybe there are people, situation, there's relationship that you might tend to put on a pedestal in the past, and now you're seeing things clearly and deciding it's time to let them go because maybe perhaps you no longer align with them, you don't share the same value anymore, or you might finally find clarity to see through things. I might be putting too much on them, emphasis on them, and they actually do not worth as much. And now you're deciding, well, maybe it's time for me to let them go, or let this part of memory to stay in the past and not holding on and letting it to continue to take space in this current version of you, this part of your life right now. Of course, Mercury retrograde, Mercury rules commerce, contract, communication. So during Mercury retrograde, the very typical thing that we feel on a collective level is miscommunication. We might find ourselves stuck in traffic. There might be delays when it comes to communication, traffic, travel. So do space out time. Don't pack your schedule too much. I wouldn't say absolutely not signing contract during Mercury retrograde, but it's not recommended. Or if you really have to do it, just make sure you triple check everything, you know, your text, your email, your contract, fine prints, and so on and so forth. One thing I want to mention is also in earlier of June, we have one of, or if not the best aspect that happened. It was the Venus-Jupiter conjunction in the sign of Cancer, and it was happening at 25 degrees, right next to where Mercury stationed retrograde. So for some people, not all, but what happened around that time, it's around June 9, so it can be 8, 9, 10, maybe something around happened that time is coming back because it is a benefic conjunction. I would say perhaps some news that might seem positive, an opportunity that came up. Now you might circle back, you're like, oh, wait a moment, maybe I need to rethink or do some tweaking, readjustment before I move forward with this opportunity or with this piece of information or news. So we do have a very busy day. Just a couple hours after Mercury station retrograde, we have our Capricorn full moon. It's happening 4:56 p.m. with the sun at 8 degrees 40 minutes in the sign of Capricorn, and the sun at the moon at 8 degrees 40 minutes in the sign of Capricorn, and the sun at 8 degrees 40 minutes in the sign of Cancer. So full moon always happen with an opposition between the sun and the moon. The ruler of this full moon is Saturn. Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn right now is in Aries, and during this full moon, Saturn is forming a loose T-square with the full moon. So meaning that in this opposition, Saturn is in the middle and is squaring both the sun and the moon, but it's not a very tight T-square. It's a little bit loose, but the energy is still very much present. So the axis of Capricorn and Cancer tend to deal with family, tradition. It talks about conservation, protection, legacy, the structure and system that hold us, maybe that help us to see the world, that bring us up as human beings, right, as we grow up. They can be passed down from our ancestors, our families and tradition. It can also be the society norms that shape us, that shape us to who we are, you know, our education system and so on and so forth, our governments. So perhaps during this full moon, we might see some of those no longer resonate with us, that are no longer sustainable, that no longer hold truth to us, that change needs to be made. On top of that, because we also have Mercury retrograde in the sign of Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, this theme might be emphasis on even more, and it might continue to linger for the next 3 weeks during Mercury retrograde as well. This full moon is happening in the first decan of Capricorn, which is ruled by Jupiter, and is represented by this Two of Pentacles tarot cards. I find it resonating with the energy of full moon and also Mercury retrograde because of everything that I've just mentioned. Capricorn is a cardinal sign, and it ushers in the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. And during this period of first decan is when we are in the darkest night of the year, when we have the longest night, and it's a very deeply reflective period of time as well, just like this Mercury retrograde, providing us a time to be in a more reflective mode, to reflect on things that might come up or resurface. It gives us a period of time, a moment to think about the changes that needs to be made before we want to move forward. Just like this Two of Pentacles, this person is holding on 2 coins and is on a what we say infinity loop, but it's also kind of weighing and seeing both sides, trying to decide the decision that needs to be made, the changes that need to be made in order to move forward, which is the three of Pentacles, where changes foundation is being laid to build upon later on. During this full moon, another aspect that is happening in Mars is Mars in Gemini squaring the nodes of faith, North Node in Pisces at 0 degree 58 minute. So whenever we have a planet squaring the nodes, we call it at the bending, and the nodes of fate always carry this fated feeling, and it's a moment of crisis, is a pivot point, and with Mars involved, is kind of inviting us to take some kind of action. It might push us to take an action, to pivot, to make a change in your Pisces house as well. That's when you think I'm done with 29, I'm not. We have one of the biggest transit happening in 2026 taking place on the same day. So 29 is a super activating day. I would really recommend not to pack this day too much. We have Jupiter entering Leo. So Jupiter is going to leave Cancer right at the full moon, and hours after the full moon, just 6 hours, Jupiter will leave Cancer and enter Leo, and it will stay for a year until July 25th or 6th, depending where you are, next year, 2027. So Jupiter will be in Leo for a year for all of us. It's time to take a look at your Leo house. Which house is ruled by Leo? What are the themes, topic, areas of life? Is that house for you? Because Jupiter will be there bringing in expansion and growth, abundance and gifts to you in the next year. However, we do have something very different coming in. Later at the end of July, the nodes of faith will shift sign and move into the next sign, which is Leo and Aquarius. South node will move from Virgo into the sign of Leo, which is a very opposite energy of Jupiter. South node often signifies a point of letting go, shredding, having less of it. So by having South node in Leo as well, it almost seems like a balance. It's like Jupiter wants to bring in some growth and expansion, bring in some gifts and help into your Leo house. But before it does that, it also needs you to not carry everything on your Leo house on your plate. It needs you to make space for it. So South node being there also signify maybe perhaps something in that house needs to let go. It might be a mindset, it might be a belief system, it might be a way of doing things, or so on and so forth. Leo ruled by the sun is about being seen. It's all about being seen, right? Look at all those Leo sun moon rising. They want to be seen. And it's about visibility. It's about being authentic, really being you and being out there to be seen. Leo is also an energy that by using visibility, by using fame, to bring awareness to people attention, right? Maybe something that you're passionate about, a cause that you want to stand up and fight for, and so on and so forth. And not everyone is comfortable with this energy. Some people want to stay in the dark. Some people like hidden in the corner, shadow, doing its own thing, doesn't want to be seen. So this energy might not be comfortable for everybody. But this energy also is inviting us to be seen. So some of us might feel pulled to and feel the invitation from this Jupiter in Leo to be seen. You might actually want to be seen, and this will also call in the shadow attribute of Leo, because when there's light attribute, there's also shadow attribute. So the attribute, the shadow side of Leo is people pleasing, right? Being too much out there that almost seems like you're arrogant. But on the other hand, it can also feeling not good enough, imposter syndrome, self-acceptance, feeling not worthy to be seen. Those are the themes that might come up for us to work with during this full year, when we want to be seen. It's like that balance. If you want to be seen, there are things you want to work with. If you don't want to be seen, then maybe there are other things you need to work with as well. How do we find that balance? Being ruled by the sun, Leo also talks about celebrity and our world leader, the people that are most out there, right? Which are celebrities and our world leader. So they might be brought into the spotlight during this Jupiter and Leo transit. Having Jupiter as a benefic, I would want to be super optimistic and say that maybe perhaps this will invite the world leaders to do some more goods for the collective, or maybe more celebrities will be willing to use their fame, their visibility to stand up for the vulnerable people in the society, fight for the good cause, and it will also invite all of us to reflect on the celebrity culture, which I think is very much present in our collective mind nowadays, and it will be in the spotlight even more in this coming year. Because personally, even though I was once very into the pop culture, the celebrity culture, I would chase some of the celebrities that I love, but as I grow, especially the past few years, it really make me question of, do I want to continue to do that or not? It also makes me reflect on the celebrity culture, and with what is happening around the world, if you really ask me, and if I have to be very honest, I do feel like that not all of them are, I'm putting an air quote if you can't see me, real. They might, look at Jim Carrey, look at Katy Perry, look at some other celebrities, Selena Gomez. They don't look like themselves. And even Jim Carrey openly mentioned that if you see me in the future again, that is not me. And in the most recent award, we do see, it might be true, we don't know, but I feel like more news about those will definitely be shared, will be talked about during this year. And we are all being invited to look at the way we look at celebrity culture. Like, are they just a cult? Come on. Are they just actually a group that is controlled by maybe the higher power, by the government, or who knows behind, to actually distract us from what truly matters to us? So we'll definitely talk more about that. But this is, in a nutshell, Jupiter in Leo, and I would actually want to do a deeper dive later on. I might post another video to talk about it and do a webinar when I am back at home and when I have more time to do it. July 1st, we have Jupiter in Leo squaring Chiron and Taurus at 0 degree 23 minutes. So right after Jupiter enter Leo, it immediately going to square Chiron and Taurus. This might exaggerate, expand, bring up, shed a light on the wounds that we have in our Taurus house. So today might feel extra tender for some of us, especially if you have any planets or point at 0 degree in the sign of Taurus and Leo. Now let's talk about one of the most talked about aspect in 2026 by every single astrologer. July 4th, we have Mars Uranus conjunction happening in the sign of Gemini at 3 degrees 52 minutes. This is super loud and wild, okay? So if you have planets or point in the sign of Gemini, I would say 3-4 degrees, you are feeling this earthquake, okay? This energy is very volatile, extremely volatile, I would say. It's very unpredictable because it's the wild card Uranus, and we are pairing it up with one of the malefic, Mars, which is about cutting, severing, splitting, separating, and it can happen out of the blue when you least expect it. I would definitely cautious all of us, especially chefs, especially people that works with fire, sharp objects. You really want to be extra cautious today. But I will also say during this whole week, especially July 3rd, 4th, 5th, you really want to pay attention of handling sharp, hard object, fire, and so on and so forth. Be extra cautious with your surroundings. It's a very accident prone energy. You know, Mars is about fire, weapons, like I said, cutting, and you really want to be slowing down today if you can, right? I know it's not always available to anyone, but you might also want to manage your temper today, because this can be fighting energy, verbal abuse. So really be mindful when you talk to people, when you discuss a topic. You know, a debate might escalate into an argument. It might even turn volatile and violent. So really, really, really watch your words. Hold your temper. Maybe not have important conversation today. Take a look at your chart. You know, again, see what Gemini is for you. Today, of course, many of us know is the solar return of USA. July 4th is their founding date. And just so happened that US Sibley chart, every country has their own natal chart. They natally have this conjunction. And just so happened, this conjunction happened on their solar return day. So like, wow, okay? So natally, they have that conjunction, and it's repeating exactly on their solar return. So this can mean many things, and with what is happening around the world, and with the history, again, astrology, we look at history, the past 2 cycles when we have the exact conjunction of Mars and Uranus in the sign of Gemini, US is always in war during this conjunction. The previous one was the World War II, and the one before is the Civil War. So are they going to have some major volatile movement on the day? Maybe, probably. We'll have to see, but the energy is very much there. But of course, I don't wish upon that, but we'll just have to wait and see. Right after that conjunction, we have a void of course moon for 13 hours 3 minutes from 10:27 a.m. until at night 11:30 p.m. So again, during void of course moon is the best to not do much, to rest, to recharge, to nourish yourself. This is a period of time where you do not want to launch anything, because nothing will come into fruition. So if you're signing a contract, if you're sending out your resume, if you are sending out important email, you do not want to do that during that time. Later on July 4th, we have Mars in Gemini, sextile Neptune in Aries at 4 degrees 24 minutes. Neptune can be this dreamy fantasy bubble. It can be like a dream, an illusion, even delusion. Mars is like that needle that popped the balloon. So today, with Mars sextile Neptune, it can be a fantasy being burst, a dream being burst, some kind of reality will come to the front for some of us. It might help you to see things clearly. It might help you to come to realization that something is too good to be true, but it is a positive thing because it's a sextile. It eventually wants you to pivot to see things clearly, to make a better decision or a judgment call. Finally, July 5th, we have Mars in Gemini trine Pluto retrograde in Aquarius at 4 degrees 46 minutes. So Pluto is about power struggles and dynamics, and in the sign of Aquarius is about the power of the people. Mars trining Pluto is basically calling us to take our power back because Mars wants us to take action. And Gemini is about our mindset, it's about speaking, it's about communicating. So with all this Mars aspect lining up with the conjunction with Uranus, then a sextile with Neptune, lastly trine with Pluto, is almost like Mars is helping us to see something very clearly, to maybe burst someone's bubble, right? Even though it can be pretty brutal for some of us, but it's a truth that we need to see, right? Maybe it's bringing awareness to for you about certain people's situation or something, and then it's going to let you know that, hey, you know what, you have the power to make changes that is better for you, right? It is about shining a light on things you need to be aware of so that you can choose how you want to pivot and how you want to move forward to it. So yes, this is a very big week. A lot is happening. I don't have a lot of time to really deep dive to everything for you, but I do really want you to know everything so that you can prepare yourself and decide how to work with all this energy. Feel free to comment below, let me know how you find them. If I can be helpful in a personal consultation, contact me. All my information in the description box below. And in the meantime, take care, take extra care of yourself this week with all this planetary movement and energy, and I'll see you again next time.